Welcome to Fit Facts. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about snacking habits. And I know a lot of you listening at home, me, Gabe, our clients, we have a lot of toxic snacking behaviors. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of toxic snacking behaviors in the past, and they persist to an extent as well today.
Exactly. I remember when I was a teenager, I would literally just eat hot Cheetos, going into my parents' pantry and coming right into playing video games.
Yeah.
And just doing that whole cycle for at least 6 hours on summer break.
Oh, I used to. My mindset with ice cream was if there's a pint of ice cream, I can't leave a drop in that pint. I have to eat the whole pint, otherwise it's not even worth it.
Exactly. And also, back then, I had 2 cousins that lived with me.
Yeah.
Back with my parents for a whole summer. And then when my parents would buy snacks, my goal was yo, I'm not trying to share these fucking snacks with them.
Yeah.
So I'm I'm just going to either stash them in my room or just eat them all in one sitting. So it would be
defending the snacks.
Exactly. It would be a bunch of wafer cookies, Chips Ahoy, all that stuff.
No, definitely. And I've always had the mindset, go big or go home, So if I have a bag of chips, the whole bag's going down. That's just how it's going to be. So definitely, I've changed that mindset over the years a little bit. It sounds like you have a little bit.
Yeah.
And today we're going to share some tips that have helped Brandon and I improve our relationship with snacking and just building that awareness. So that leads into the first tip, which is building awareness. Brandon, why don't you talk a little bit about that tip?
Yeah, so every time you're snacking, you want to make sure that you're aware that you are snacking. All right, because there's a lot of people that would snack around and they wouldn't even notice that they're snacking. They'll be watching TV. Food is right on their coffee table, and they just start snacking oh, this movie is so cool, awesome, cool episode, and out of nowhere, all that food on your coffee table is gone. So you want to be aware first. So that's the first step, and it's not only just being aware that you're physically taking food subconsciously or unconsciously, whatever. It's also you want to know the reason why you're snacking. So a part of that is you want to first of course, see that you are snacking, notice you're snacking. Then the second is you want to notice your environment. Okay, why are you snacking? Look at your environment, be are you in a stressful environment right now? You're not? Okay. And then you look at your current state of mind right now. So let's say you had a stressful day off work, you're watching TV. That can cause you to snack on one whole bag of hot Cheetos or Doritos. I keep using hot Cheetos.
I know. I can tell you love hot Cheetos.
So you want to see what kind of emotional state you are, because that is what causes people to snack a lot. It could be from stress or also lack of sleep. If you're super tired, a lot of people could just start snacking just because they bring their inhibitions down. They're all I'm just gonna eat whatever just to kind of be, trying to survive, because when you're on that lack of sleep.
Yeah, I mean, it can be so many factors. I know, with the lack of sleep, it's almost just you want to just, I don't know, make yourself feel good in some way, just kind of get back to some baseline. Or with stress, it's just a really simple way. That's how it was for me growing up, for sure. It's anytime it's I get in an argument with my brother, or I come home from school and I'm a little stressed out, it's just I'm going right to the pantry, I'm grabbing stuff, and I'm just going to start eating. And it wasn't until later, until I could build that awareness and realize, oh, I'm actually not even hungry right now.
Exactly.
I'm just sad or stressed or angry, and eating this food is making me feel better in the moment, in the short term. But really, if you separate that and build that awareness, then you can start employing different habits,
exactly.
walking or meditating or exercising or just working through those emotions.
Exactly.
Which will be way more beneficial in the long term. But
Exactly.
we'll get into that momentarily. But yeah, so it's building awareness is huge, and it can be tough to do too, because like you said, so many people. I think of my stepdad in particular.
Yeah.
This guy just mindlessly will walk to the pantry and just start grabbing something and start eating. And my mom will always call him out. She'll be we have dinner in 30 minutes. Are you even hungry? And he's oh, no.
Right, it becomes a habit.
Yeah, it's just kind of a natural habit you don't even think of.
Exactly. That's what I would do, because growing up, I would spend most of my time in my room playing video games. So every time I would go to the kitchen, it's either just to eat, grab a snack, or just say what's up to guests. My parents bring guests home, I'm oh, hello.
Yeah.
So every time I go into the kitchen, in my parents' house, I would automatically just go into their pantry and grab something. I don't want to leave the kitchen empty-handed. So I was able to build that awareness. Well, not when I was a teenager, but thinking back now, I was oh shit, I was really snacking pretty bad.
Yeah, and it'll take time, right? It's like any habit, you're gonna get better at it. You're gonna revert to where you were before you improve that habit, but over time you can improve that to the point where, Brandon and I, we still over snack sometimes, but it's a much rarer occurrence for us both now.
Exactly, and that's why the number one tip you should have is build awareness. Now, tip number 2, you want to disperse the snacks. And by disperse, we mean, let's say you go to Costco and you buy those big-ass bags of chips, Doritos, not Hot Cheetos right now, Doritos.
Gotta mix it up.
Exactly. I tell my clients this. I say don't go from bag to mouth. You want to go from bag to a small plate or a Ziploc, then to mouth. That's what you want to do first, because you want to kind of get away from like that main supplier, aka that big stock of food you have. You want to have so much space from it, or you want to grab so little from it, just so you can consume only what you grab, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and like, willpower is a muscle. Like, no matter how great your willpower is, there's always going to be the point where, you're stressed, whatever, certain factors start to converge, and it just makes it harder to look at that bag and say, I'm only going to have 2 handfuls of chips. But like you said, if you take the big bag of chips and you just put it in these little 6-ounce Ziploc bags and okay, that's 1 serving for me.
Yeah.
And you have that, it's going to take a lot more effort for you to finish that Ziploc bag and then go all the way back to the pantry, get another Ziploc bag where you'll be thinking about the implications of what you're doing. Am I going to eat more than I need right now?
Exactly.
Versus you just have the bag already there, and you can just keep shoveling your hand in the bag. So I think that's a tremendous tip right there.
Exactly. It's even good for like convenience. Let's say you're like super busy and you're on the go, and you have a big bag of chips. You could just bring those. You could put those small servings in Ziplocs and just grab them and then get out, go to your job, snack during the day, and that'll be it. So it's also good for, I guess, if you're counting calories or for portion control as well.
And I've definitely been known to snack on the job. I love just pulling something out of the backpack real quick, watching someone do an exercise while I'm popping something,
oh my God.
something in my mouth.
I've definitely pulled out like a Quest bar while training.
Yeah,
you definitely see me do that.
I've definitely thought about that. Like, is this professional? I don't really care. I'm hungry.
I always do it with my closer clients. If it's like my clients like first week or first 2 weeks in, I'm like, I'm not pulling out any food.
I'm definitely not like in the console, like, nice to meet you.
Oh no, never.
Chewing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that leads into the 3rd tip, and that is going to be focus on chewing the food as long as you can and being present while you're doing that. So oftentimes when we're, just stress eating, let's say, and we're just mindlessly eating, you're going to be chewing and swallowing really fast. But if you take the time to slow that down, not only will that give you more time to for your body to give that hunger signal to your brain and let you know you're full right now, you don't need to eat more, but also just focus you to be more present, almost like meditating in a way, where you're just more mindful of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you're more mindful of the eating habits, then you're going to be less likely to do things that don't serve you, that your body don't really need, like just overeating, binge eating, even just eating the types of foods too that maybe aren't as healthy or serving your goals as well.
Exactly. Yeah, being present is the key, I guess, group of words right there. Just because if you're, let's say, for me, for example, I'll eat and watch TV or do work, and if I'm eating, I notice that I'll just finish the food in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend will literally watch me and be like, "Oh, you finished that so fast." I was like, "Oh shit, I did." While I'm like watching a movie or something, just because I'm not really focused on the food, I'm focused on the task other task in front of me or other distractions. So I want to be present with the food because when I chew it slowly, it tells my brain and my stomach like, "Oh, we're actually having more food, so we don't have to be hungry." I know there's like a science backed up to it, to where it's like some receptors think that or tell your body that you're more satisfied after a certain number of chews.
Yeah. Also, I think like generally, I mean, I don't know if this is super accurate, but they say like it takes like 20 minutes for your body to actually communicate to your brain that, okay, you're full now, or something like that. There's some point of time where after you're probably done needing any more food, there's going to be that gap when you haven't quite gotten that signal yet. But if you slow down, if you focus on your chewing, if you're a little more mindful, you'll be able to have that signal come quicker so that you're not regretting the last 5-10 chews or bites.
Exactly. And to even supplement that, I would recommend if you're eating with someone, I would say focus on the conversation you're having with that person you're eating out with, instead of like focusing on like, oh, this food's so good, I'm gonna go in on this. Or even if, I know we're talking about snacks here, but let's say like you're having like chips and talking to your friend. Focus on like the conversation instead of like your next chip that you're gonna grab out of the bag.
Yeah. That's just kind of an enhancer to this social interaction you're having. But you don't have to make that just the total focus of everything that's going on.
Like your friend could be like crying about something, and then you're just focused on like, oh, this donut's so good.
Your friend just got dumped, and you're like, cool, man, keep telling me about that.
I know, for real.
And just eat. This is so good right now.
Yeah. Anyways, so that fourth tip is going to be you want to add a barrier. So this is a good one I give to my newer clients as well. Adding a barrier just adds that separation away from that snack that you're craving. So let's say for me, if I'm craving hot Cheetos, I know, right?
This is a common theme, right?
It is a common theme. I'm gonna get hot Cheetos after this. But no, if I'm craving hot Cheetos and I know that's what I want, I'm not gonna leave it around the house. I'm actually just gonna make sure that it's at a store, and I literally have to take a bunch of steps or add barriers for me to get those hot Cheetos. I have to open the door, go to my garage, open my garage, get into the car, drive 2 blocks down to 7-Eleven or whatever, and come back and eat those hot Cheetos. So that just adds another barrier. I know other people would do barriers where it's like leave it in the trunk of your car or something. Or if you have a fridge in your garage, you can put it in the fridge of your garage. All right, you don't want to leave it into your kitchen pantry, or worse, in your bedroom or in your office. Or even in your car, for example, especially if you're driving a lot, because when I would leave snacks in my car, I always leave like emergency snacks in my car. I would end up finishing it. And during like maybe like if I do a house call to a client or a patient, like within that whole like drive time, if I leave that snack in my car, I'm like, oh shit.
Eating on the go.
I know, for real.
And yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice. I don't necessarily always do that. So like something that I'll do that kind of works with that would be when I'm at the store, I'll say, okay, I'll just get one of these or two of these. So I'll kind of in my mind know like, okay, there's going to be one time throughout the week when maybe I want some ice cream,
like portion control,
and I'll get this like small pint, or maybe at 2 times throughout the week I can have half of this pint of ice cream, and then I'm just gonna get that one pint, and once that's gone, it's done for the week. And like you said, if I want more, I'm gonna have to think about the fact that I don't have it in my house. I'm gonna have to drive all the way to the grocery store. I'm gonna have to put my shoes on, get in the car, drive there. Is it really worth it? And I mean, if I'm really hungry, maybe it is worth it, but oftentimes you're going to find out that your body doesn't actually need it. You just are wanting that food because you're trying to mask a different emotion or something you're dealing with. So it just provides that space and that mindfulness. Like
I like that. I will say, for this tip right here, shopping at Costco does not help.
Shopping at Costco is not.
Because you're going to have like that whole bulk of food in your pantry.
You're going to have 3 months worth of ice cream.
I know, for real. Oh my gosh, I think you might, if you're trying to fix your eating habits or snacking habits, you're better off like shopping at like those smaller places like Ralph's or Trader Joe's that give smaller portions.
That's a good point, for sure.
Yeah, unless you have like a family of 4.
And the last tip for our snacking habits episode is substitute the snack you might have been planning on having with another snack. So typically we're talking about substituting something that's not very filling and is a lot higher in calories, like let's say a bag of chips, and you could substitute that with something that's a little more satiating and maybe has some more nutritional value. What's an example of something like that you would do? There's a lot of options. Something higher in protein, you could say.
I see what you mean.
Something that, just is going to be more filling, actually going to have some nutritional substance. So maybe instead of just having a candy bar, you have, I don't know, I'm blanking right now, but throw something out there for me.
It's about to be the most boring thing ever.
Tell me.
It's going to be like small slices of chicken breast.
Okay. I like that. Or like something that I really like to do is like, I'll make myself like a mini pizza on a piece of like bread. So I'll just take a piece of bread, I'll put like a little like tomato sauce, like a little meat on there, chop up some veggies, and it's like, it's smaller, but it has like the protein on it. It's delicious, and it's a lot more nutritionally beneficial than like candy bar, ice cream, something like that.
Exactly. Also, sometimes rice cakes is a good one.
Rice cakes is great.
Rice cakes, it's because with that texture, you do have to chew it a little more, which goes back to like focus on chewing. So it makes you chew like maybe 10 more times than if you were to eat like a bag of chips or something.
Yeah, and it all depends on your goals, right? So like another snack I really like are, bags of nuts. Nuts are typically a little higher in fats and calories, so if your goal is fat loss, you might need to think, does this fit into my calorie intake goals? But for me, I really like, like, you know, trail mix, things like that. So
Yeah.
you can always just think, okay, does this have benefits? Like, is this going to fuel my body? Is this going to give me energy for my workout? Is this going to make me feel good after? Like, if I have this whole pint of ice cream, am I going to feel like I'm able to perform well, think well, or am I going to feel like I just want to take a nap?
Yeah. I feel like it depends if, like, you know how some people, they have a sweet tooth, or they have, like, that a salty tooth, or they crave, like, salty stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I tell my clients who have, like, sweet tooth cravings, I tell them to go drink either, like, a bubbly or a LaCroix, which is, like, those carbonated water drinks, or even something called, like, sparkling ice, which is, like, a flavored carbonated water drink.
Sure.
Yeah, and it has no sugar, 0 calories. So I usually tell them to get that, and with that carbonation, it kind of, like, fills you up a little more if they have that sweet tooth. But for salt, if, like, someone's craving something salty, I usually say, like, rice cakes, or get chicken and sprinkle some salt on there.
I'm not on board with that one. That's a little too boring with me. But if it works, it works. You know.
That's a good one right there.
And then my personal favorite, actually, recently that I've been going to is I'll just get some Greek yogurt. I just mix some frozen berries in there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if it's before a workout, if I want some extra carbs, I'll put some honey on top. If not, it's just the yogurt and the berries. You know, you got your fats, your protein, a little carbs, and it's just delicious. So, I mean, there's definitely good, healthy snacks that you can always creatively think about and substitute in place of chips, candy bars, ice cream. But not to say don't have those, because from time to time, we both have those because, you know, balance is important.
Exactly. There's also one that I created. Well, I didn't create it.
Oh, you didn't create it?
But it's that plain Greek yogurt. Where it's like 0 fat, 0 carbs, but it's all protein.
I know where you saw this. Like, Alex Hormozy posted this, right? That guy?
And then he put protein powder in there,
Yeah,
right?
the bearded guy?
Yeah.
He put like the flavoring in there, and then he's like, this is 80 grams of protein. It's
I know. I was like, oh shit, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say with that is, I mean, there's no fat in there, right? So it's like, it's not a complete meal.
Yeah.
It's not going to be quite as satiating as if you had like some fats and carbs in there, but I think it's still a pretty damn good idea.
Yeah, it is. Oh, for sure. And also, you can also substitute snacks, but also some kind of activity if you're craving something. So, for example, let's say right now, I'm craving, we're going to stick to the theme. I'm craving hot Cheetos right now. But you know what? Before I go to the store and grab it, I'm going to go ahead and step out of my apartment, take a nice walk around the block, check my mail. I'll take maybe 15, 20 minutes, come back, and then I'm going to come back and ask myself, do I still need those hot Cheetos?
Yeah.
I probably won't, honestly. I'll probably just go about my day or choose something in the fridge.
For me, it's like I'll realize, like, okay, I'm craving something.
Yeah.
I'll take a moment, I'll be like, am I feeling all right? Like, am I stressed right now? Am I emotionally on point? I'll just take a couple of breaths. Okay, how do I feel? And if I feel great, if I'm like, I'm just hungry, I just want a treat right now, and I've been eating well, like, I can have this treat, I'll go get it. But if I realize, like, no, I'm just really stressed out right now, and I need to actually just go on a walk or just process these emotions, I don't really need to eat right now, well, then I might say, okay, I don't need that right now, and it's really helpful.
Yeah, like that being that mindful also kind of helps when you notice that craving.
Yeah.
So you can see, like, all these 5 tips kind of bleed into each other.
100%. But this was our episode on fixing your snacking habits. If your goals are weight loss, if your goals are better mental health, feeling better, improving your workouts, these snacking habits are going to really contribute to improvements in all those areas. So thank you so much for listening. I'm Gabe.
I'm Brandon.
And this was Fit Facts.
See you on the next one.
That was good.
Dude, honestly, we probably don't have to make any edits.
I think so.